Hey, podcasters, welcome back to Under the Avocado Tree. Today, I am extremely excited to have Dr. Angela Tran, DO. Dr. Angela Tran is a board-certified internal medicine physician and is an active member of the American Society of Bariatric Physicians. She's practiced primary care since 2007 and recognized in her practice that obesity was very frequently the root cause of many of the chronic medical conditions that she got to see in her office, including diabetes, prediabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, coronary artery disease. And because of her background, she has the ability to understand many of the complexities or the barriers that patients experience when it's time to actually commit to losing weight. So with her many struggles, she's been dedicated now to help people succeed with their weight management and their weight loss. I think personally, before I formally introduce Dr. Tran, that this topic is now more applicable than ever. People are anxious, COVID-19 pandemic, people are stuck in their homes, sometimes not necessarily being able to really have as much access as we're accustomed to some of the foods that are part of our routine. There's anxiety, there's fear eating, anxiety eating, looking for comfort, less activity because everybody's stuck at home. And I know that one of the biggest fears that is lurking on everybody's mind is getting fat and gaining weight or becoming, that fitness level they had achieved, kind of losing it. So first of all, Dr. Tran, anything that I might have missed? I know you have a very long resume. Anything that I might have missed as I introduced you?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm just super excited to be here, and I want to help everybody literally become indestructible as we are experiencing this recession, and we just have to start with our health.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. So help us understand in your practice, tell us a little bit about your vision of obesity when you talk about these barriers, these challenges around weight loss. What are some of the things that in your expertise you tend to encounter around this problem?
This is actually a fantastic opportunity for me because I think, unfortunately, COVID-19 really sort of shook up the world, but it also is bringing back to why I started my practice, is to put health in the forefront. And now it is a priority more than ever. And that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that Americans are making, to answer your question, is that we put it on the side. We are stressed out. Now we are using food for comfort. We're not taking care of ourselves, and this spiral is just going to, quadruple. And unfortunately, this disease will actually surpass, some of the things that even just the virus is doing. So that's why we're here to help.
Excellent. And I think that it's so relevant. Just yesterday, I saw a paper that was published out of China and South Korea, and they were, all the physicians were speaking about their experience, the narrative that we've been hearing. Yeah, chronically ill patients, diabetes, hypertension, obesity are the greatest risk factors. And for some reason, statistically, males seem to really succumb to the infection if they have these pre-existing conditions. And so this is kind of the stuff that we've been, in our field, we've been talking about for so long. And so yesterday there was a publication confirming that in fact, these are the greatest risk factors. So let's speak a little bit into that from your experience. You talk about so many of these chronic diseases being rooted in obesity. Now people are stuck at home, possibly, potentially becoming obese. So help us understand your thought process around this, and what potential strategies can we even begin to talk about to help people that are out there?
Yeah, when you are experiencing some of the common problems that we're facing, again, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, I mean, your body is in an unhealthy state where it can't even fight some of these viruses and, other things that are affecting our health. What I'm counseling our patients is that, health is really your only shield. And I have been telling patients that if your immune system is down, you don't have as good of a fighting chance as if someone like you and me, where we do take care of ourselves, and we're definitely not immune to the virus, but I am more worried about being a carrier than someone who ends up in the hospital. And so I really, particularly in the last 3 weeks, have gathered my community of, MedFit members. Look, we need to eat healthy, we need to exercise. And that's not just getting through the virus, but that's also getting through the stress of the recession that we're about to enter.
Mm-hmm. Very important. And so when people are at home, Dr. Tran, and they're worried, they're stressed, are there particular strategies that you yourself and your family or you're recommending to your community, things that would be maybe more specific to their eating habits, for example?
Absolutely. And, I personally have experienced this too, because my team and I literally flipped our brick and mortar business into a virtual in a matter of 2 days. And so it is fairly new for me from working from home. And so I'm experiencing the challenges that everyone faced. So I've really come up with, my top tips that I even personally follow to really protect everyone from gaining weight, from experiencing health issues that are not even related to the COVID that could potentially be life-threatening. So number one, structure. I mean, when we're sitting at home, we have access to the kitchen. We don't even really know what time it is. I have a 5-year-old daughter that I'm trying to take care of while taking care of patients. So, going into the office, sure, we had sort of that 8 to 5 tasks of things, but when you get into at home, you're not exactly sure what you need to tackle because everything seems so overwhelming. So as silly as it sounds, I have used Siri from my Apple Watch a million times. So I actually will set eating times for myself so that I make sure that I'm structured in my eating, but also that I'm not skipping meals. I think that there has been some confusion that people say, well, if I'm just not going to, eat as many calories, I should lose weight. Well, skipping meals actually tells your body to store. So I really want people to, understand that you need to follow a very specific predictable eating pattern, and your body will do very well. And then it just keeps you from going to the kitchen, which is not open 24/7, which is what people think. So that's number one. Number two, and with your field and your listeners can relate, energy. You have to keep up with your energy. And you and I share the love of preventative medicine. And so it's all about taking care of the basics again. Are you taking proper vitamins? Are you sleeping well? Again, are you eating the right nutrition and not, falling into the buy one, get one free Oreo cookies? I mean, we took a picture the other day, my staff and I, at the grocery store. The baking aisle was empty. All of the shelves were empty. And I was like, oh boy, you guys are making my job harder. So energy level is something that you really need to focus on to make sure that you are primed to make the tough decisions as soon as you wake up. And then last but not least, exercise. Obviously, exercise is the prescription that I want to just prescribe all day long. And it really, obviously gets your heart pumping full of blood and helps with your energy, but it really just also puts you into, just the I am capable mindset, builds your confidence. And like I said, you are more apt to fight battles to really preserve yourself. So those are the top things that I really want listeners to just really hone in, to stay ahead of the curve, if you will, on this that we're, dealing with.
Wonderful, wonderful, excellent, Dr. Tran. And speaking of those structure or of the structured times throughout the day to make sure that you're kind of hitting those check marks, keeping yourself in discipline. Can you give us a sense or an idea, if we were to talk about your personal routine, which you briefly talked upon, how would that look for you on a daily basis? Let's say it's Tuesday.
Right.
How does Dr. Tran's cycle for that Tuesday look like?
Yes, well, here's the best secret weapon, and I know that it's not glamorous, but I follow a very routine, almost boring way of eating, at least Monday through Thursday, if not Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, I have some variety. But like I said before, your body appreciates predictability. And so if you rotate through some of the same foods over and over, your body actually metabolizes very well. So just a typical day, I will eat a or a plain non-fat Greek yogurt. So it's got 15 grams of protein. I will minimize any type of sweetener. So I will just put a couple of fresh berries in there just to give it some flavor, and off to the races I go. Mid-morning, I actually have purchased pre-cut vegetables because, hey, guess what? I don't have time, so I'll actually buy those trays where they have carrots, broccoli, celery already just grab and go just in case I need it. At lunchtime, very simple, again, small protein and a side salad. And then in the afternoon, sometimes I need a snack, sometimes I don't, but I always want to tell everybody it needs to be protein based. So, hard-boiled eggs is something that I always keep in the refrigerator. Or I actually also have stocked my refrigerator with bottled water, because I think that a lot of the times when we want to grab something and we think we're hungry, it's actually because your body is thirsty. And so that's probably one of my next sort of hacks in getting through the day, is just drinking a full bottle of water. And then at dinner time, now, I actually really love to cook, so this is sort of where I shine. I know that a lot of everyone else is just worried about, wow, we can't go out to eat, and not sure how to handle it. But like I said, it's for example, tonight, a chicken breast and a side of broccoli, and to make it flavorful, it's all about the spices, garlic powder, all of these herbs, and call it a successful day. And it doesn't slow me down. I don't have a lot of sugar because I have a business to run, and I have a mission to help people. So those are the sort of the top tips that I recommend for everybody.
Excellent, super excellent. And it makes so much sense scientifically, this idea of accustoming the body to having consistent foods and foods that are predictable day after day. I mean, our food is information. As it comes into our body, it creates genetic expression. So those genes are creating specific receptors. And I think the more that we give our body these things consistently, those receptors are going to be more prevalent. Our cell is going to be able to do a lot better job at utilizing the stuff that we're giving them, instead of like having all these mixed and right. So
yes.
that makes a tremendous amount of sense, to be able to, like you were saying, boost metabolism. And were you going to say something?
I'm so glad that you brought in, the word receptor, because that's exactly, again, how our bodies work. And what happens is that you are right in that you're giving your body information, and the right fuel matches with those receptors, and then they feel, quote, satisfied. And so when you, again, give your body exactly what it needs, then you won't necessarily be roaming through the pantry, wondering what you need to eat next, because you're satisfying those receptors.
Yeah, and it's amazing thinking about this, how how that clashes sometimes with culture, because culturally, it's all about, oh, I ate that same thing yesterday, I got to do something today, or the experience of a new restaurant, and how far sometimes culture can actually be from health, and from
Mm-hmm.
sound scientific understanding of health. So one more thing, Dr. Tran, the exercise conundrum. Right
You're
now
right.
we're socially distancing, which I hate that term, by the way. I think we should be physically distancing, but really socially connecting more than ever, because isolation and anxiety, depression, all the things that come with it. So we're physically distancing. There's now talk and some research coming from the CDC saying, hey, this virus can stay airborne, right,
Mm-hmm.
for 3 hours,
Oh
and
my
it can
gosh,
travel as
yes.
far more than 6 feet. So for those of us that were enjoying the occasional run and trying to stay far from people, how are you handling this whole thing? Like, what is your exercise situation looking like?
Oh, I am attached to my Fitbit. So making sure that I get 10,000 steps a day. I've really been creative. And I actually posted this on my social media the other day. Gosh, the one time I wish I did have a treadmill in my basement so I could have some exercise equipment. But the honest truth is that it really forces you to be active throughout the day, especially if you were used to a sedentary desk job. That's probably one of the biggest risk factors in gaining weight. So I have taken advantage of actually just the access of what I have in my home. We do go outside. Thankfully, the weather is warm enough. We'll only go into our backyard, so nothing major. But I have been so proud of some of my friends who own fitness gyms and studios. They have created live workouts that you can do on Facebook or Zoom, and you just stick your computer and follow along. So the reality is that there actually was never an excuse. You just needed to pivot and be creative. So for those who just say, well, gosh, my gym is closed and I can't exercise, that's actually not true. That is just coming to the reality that you came up with that excuse. But now is the time to really understand kind of what we started the podcast with. Health is a priority. And as soon as you make it a priority, it's time to start doing the things necessary to get your health up.
Absolutely. I love that so much, Dr. Tran. Your opening statement right now, I mean, it should always be the case, but right now is absolutely the time to make health the number one priority. So many of us have complained, I'm so busy at work. I don't have, there's this excuse, that excuse. What excuse is there now? We're stuck at home.
Right.
We have all these resources at our fingertips. And so, to close things off, when somebody makes their health their number one priority, let's say
Mm-hmm.
a patient or a
Mm-hmm.
member for you in your practice, what kind of changes as their health gets better? What other things do you tend to see happen in their lives as a result of having improved health?
Oh, the number one thing is confidence. I'm telling people, you are capable of overcoming absolutely anything that you put your mind to it, but you have to feel confident and capable. And until you feel like your health is up to where it should be, that is going to be the biggest gap. And most of the time, I talk to a lot of patients who their priorities are family number one and career number two. But again, if you are not at your best self, those will fall apart. And what do you have left? So confidence is key, which is again rooted to the health. Again, energy level in order to fight the fires, that you need to do. And number three, I always say it's all about mindset. Again, those who come out on the other side tend to be those who are staying positive, who are looking at making changes and turning this into almost a blessing in disguise. Thankfully, again, you know, it allowed our family to take a look at our finances and get everything in order. It allowed us to take a look at Haley's education and make sure that are we doing the right thing. And like I said, we're looking at how can we come out better on the other side. And again, it's all rooted right down to the very core of how healthy you are and how well you take care of yourself.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Tran. You continue to be an inspiration. I wish that I could be more and more like you, Dr. Tran, looking like I'm 23 years old, like you. So thank you for being an embodiment of what you preach. And thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day, out of your busy work life and family life to share this message with people that are out there needing support and needing direction. If somebody would want to work with you, and they're like, man, I'm struggling at home, this is hard. If I just had somebody at the reach of my palm who was an expert and that could really help guide me in making better decisions and making me accountable and telling me what stuff I need to be able to succeed, how can they grab a hold of you?
Yes, so I'd like to invite everyone to go to our website at denverweightlossclinic.com. Like I mentioned before, I got the entire MedFit team virtual, and we're ready to serve everyone because I told my team we're on a mission. We're almost like the Avengers. It's time to show up, you know, and be heroes because the world needs us. So we're going to be assigning every patient a hand-selected team. So you'll have your accountability coach, your nutrition coach, and your fitness coach. And together we're going to get you through, get your health up, and help you conquer all the battles you need to face over the next, you know, several months.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was denverweightlossclinic.com. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Tran. Have a great rest of your day. Any closing remarks?
We're just here to help. We know everybody is struggling. That's why I started my practice, you know, in the first place. If you just go down to the root and take care of yourself and your health, then that's really how we're all going to, you know, come together and make it through, you know, these challenging times that we're all facing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Tran. Thank you for your inspiration today and have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Bye.